Hello, Seaworthy readers. It's me, this is Kevin. Today I thought we'd poke around some deck plans and look at ships and kind of explore what you can find on the web. So today we're going to explore Royal Caribbean International's website. So as you can see at the top, it is royalcaribbean.com. So today I want to look at deck plans. So we're going to look at deck plans for the new Harmony of the Seas. And the way we would find that is, we're not planning a cruise, the experience. That sounds interesting. So if you click on that, it shows you destinations, excursions, our ships, onboard activities, and dining. So let's click on our ships, which will take us to a link of the ships within the Royal Caribbean fleet. We have Quantum class ships, and over here you'll see the different ships in that class. Then we have Oasis class, where we have the ships in that class, Freedom, Voyager, Radiance, Vision, Sovereign, and so on. But as I mentioned, today we want to look at Harmony of the Seas. So I would click on the Harmony of the Seas link. It would take me to the main page for Harmony of the Seas. It gives you that it has neighborhoods, dining options of 20, and there are almost 2,400 crew on board to serve you, which is pretty kind of cool. It's a lot of people, I think. So let's view the deck plans. Now, what you'll notice on the deck plan is over here on the left-hand side, you see color-coded legend. In this case, this sort of pink salmony color is Category H, Ocean View, or yellow, Category I, Ocean View. And accessible means that I believe these are handicap rooms, but I'm not altogether sure. So, as you can see, this is Deck 3 right up here. You can change the deck just by clicking on one of those in the drop-down box, but let's go ahead and look at 3 since we're here. You have the Royal Theater, and this is not accessible from Deck 3. You have to go in from Deck 4, it looks like. So these are cabins all along here, and yes, those are accessible cabins, as you can see by the handicap symbol. Deck 3 has a conference center. It has the center ice rink for Studio B. It has some interior cabins, which are K and N, detailed over there. And these are banks of elevators, as well as the stairwells, which are depicted here. And these, of course, are the international symbol for restroom. So we've explored Deck 3. Now let's go up to Deck 4, which is going to be a public spaces deck. And by public spaces, you will notice that a lot of these are public spaces. Here's your Royal Theater again, with your entrances to the Royal Theater, your comedy club, your jazz club, your diamond club, which appears to be a bar of some kind because that symbol, a martini glass, would indicate a bar. Then you have Studio B, which is where you'll find the ice shows as well as other variety type shows. You have the Casino Royale, for those of you that like to throw down a few quarters in a slot machine. Again, the elevators and restrooms. And then you have the main dining room here at the back. But what you also have, interspersed here, is a row of cabins. And those are Category SO and SI, which are exterior ocean view cabins. So let's look at, I clicked on Deck 4. Let's click on Deck 5 and see what we have there. Deck 5, again, is entirely a public spaces deck with the main dining room, the Aqua Theater, the shopping desk, bars, the Royal Promenade, the pub, some restaurants, Shorex desk, more bars, more clubs, and again the Royal Theater, and the entrance to the Vitality at Sea Spa and Fitness Center. What you might want to consider when you're choosing a cabin is what is above and below your cabin. Now you remember, back there we showed you those cabins that were right along here on Deck 4. They would be below this jogging track, which means that probably during the day you might have a little above noise from people maybe walking or jogging, but during the evening you probably wouldn't have any type of noise. Because you want to consider that because their decks are made of metal and they transmit sound quite well. So if we go up to Deck 6, we'll see that these are passenger decks. Now, these cabins here are over the Royal Theater, which means that you may experience noise at night. So if you have children that you're putting to bed early, you may want to consider somewhere other than those cabins, because directly below it you will have variety shows going on possibly as late as 11 or 12 at night, depending on the schedule and whether it's a sea day or a port day. And you may want to keep that in mind when you're booking a cabin, because, of course, you don't want to be awakened in the middle of the night because it's loud below you. You look at deck 7. Deck 7, again, is primarily passenger deck. Now, above and below deck 7 are cabins, which means they might be slightly quieter. Same with deck 8, because deck 8 is primarily cabins again. There is some retail and shops and things in there, but by and large, it's passengers above and below you. So let's go up to the top deck, deck 18, and then we'll work our way down. Here we have the slides, because Harmony of the Seas will be the first Royal Caribbean ship to have slides installed from the beginning. Up until the refit of the Liberty of Seas, Royal Caribbean did not have water slides on their ships. Now you'll see these are premium cabins up here. These are some bigger cabins, and they're in what would have been the Viking Crown Lounge on the older Royal Caribbean ships. Now we go down to deck 17, and we see again more cabins below. We see the slide, not the entrance, but the rest of it. There is a bar up here in the sun deck. Going down to 16. 16 we have, now we're starting to get into the upper decks where we'll have food. We have a bar back here. We have the 2 flow riders, which is surfing at sea. We have the Windjammer Marketplace, where you'll find a buffet-style food, a sky bar, another solarium bar, more views of the slides. Deck 15. Deck 15 is where you're starting to see the pools. There are 2 beach pools, there are bars, there is a sports pool over here, there's a splash-away center for the kids, there's miniature golf, there's sports court where you can play basketball and volleyball, and some of them have soccer that you can play on like a basketball-sized court. Deck 14, let's see, I'm trying to get down to cabin decks. Here we go. So deck 14 would be cabin. So your primary decks for public activities are 4, 5, and then upper decks down to deck 14. But again, when you're looking at cabins, try and remember what's above and below you, because I wouldn't want you to be surprised when you get on ship and find out that your cabin is above the show lounge, and at 11 o'clock at night you have bass thumping through your room. So keep that in mind when you're looking at deck plans, and hopefully we'll have another video for you soon. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them below. Thank you.